29 states. That's how many states right now allow you to carry a concealed firearm without a permit. No background check beyond the point of purchase. No training requirement. No fees. No government approval. Just your Second Amendment right. And if you live in one of these states and you don't know about it, you're missing out on a constitutional right that millions of Americans are already exercising. But here's the part nobody's talking about. If you live in one of the 21 states that still require permits, you're being treated as a second-class gun owner. Your rights are conditional. Your ability to defend yourself depends on government permission. And that gap between free states and restricted states is getting wider every single day. In 2026, the constitutional carry movement is at a tipping point, and you need to understand what's happening right now. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed yet? Because what I'm about to reveal is how half the country just eliminated concealed carry permits entirely, while the other half is doubling down on restrictions. Hit that subscribe button right now. 90% of gun owners don't know which states allow permitless carry or how the rules actually work, and I refuse to let that be you. Subscribe, hit the bell, let's dive in. Alright, let me set the scene. Imagine you live in Texas, you're 21 years old, you legally own a handgun, you want to carry it concealed for self-defense. In Texas, as of 2021, you don't need a permit. You can carry concealed right now. No training, no application, no waiting period. Just carry. Now imagine your friend lives in New York. Same age, same clean record, same desire to carry for self-defense. In New York, your friend needs a permit, and to get that permit, they need to prove good moral character. Submit references, complete training, pay fees, wait months for approval, and even then, there's no guarantee. Two Americans, same rights on paper, completely different realities. That's the state of gun rights in America in 2026. And it's getting more extreme. Here's what just happened that you need to know about. Over the past 5 years, the constitutional carry movement exploded. Between 2021 and 2024, 16 states passed permitless carry laws. That's more than one state every 4 months. The momentum is insane. As of January 2026, 29 states have constitutional carry laws on the books. That's 58% of the country, more than half. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, West Virginia, Wyoming. 29 states where millions of Americans can carry concealed firearms without asking permission from the government. And the list keeps growing. Now let's talk about what constitutional carry actually means, because there's a lot of confusion out there. Constitutional carry, also called permitless carry, means you can carry a concealed handgun without a government-issued permit. The term comes from the idea that the Second Amendment already gives you the right to keep and bear arms. You shouldn't need permission to exercise a constitutional right. But here's what constitutional carry does not mean. It doesn't mean anyone can carry. You still have to be legally allowed to own a firearm under federal law. That means no felonies, no domestic violence convictions, no restraining orders, no drug addiction. All the federal prohibitions still apply. It doesn't mean you can carry anywhere. Federal gun-free zones still exist. Schools, post offices, federal buildings, airports past TSA, all still off limits. State-specific restricted locations still apply. Many states ban guns in government buildings, bars, polling places, or other locations. Constitutional carry doesn't override those restrictions. It doesn't mean minors can carry. Every constitutional carry state has an age requirement. Some states set it at 18, others at 21. A few allow 18 for military members and 21 for civilians. And it doesn't mean you can carry in other states. Constitutional carry only applies in your home state. If you travel, you need to understand reciprocity. We'll get to that in a minute. So, constitutional carry removes one specific barrier, the permit requirement. That's it. Everything else about gun laws still applies. If you're finding this helpful so far, imagine what you'll learn in my next video, where I break down the 5 biggest mistakes constitutional carry holders make that turn legal carry into criminal charges. That video could literally keep you out of prison. Subscribe right now so you don't miss it. Now let's talk about the timeline, because this movement happened fast. Vermont has had constitutional carry since its founding. Vermont never required permits. It's been that way for over 200 years. Alaska became the first state to pass constitutional carry through modern legislation in 2003. That was a big deal. But then nothing happened for years. Between 2003 and 2010, no other states joined. In 2010, Arizona passed constitutional carry. Then Wyoming in 2011, Arkansas in 2013. Kansas and Maine in 2015, Idaho, Mississippi, Missouri, and West Virginia in 2016, New Hampshire and North Dakota in 2017, South Dakota in 2019, Oklahoma in 2019. Then everything accelerated. In 2021, 5 states passed constitutional carry: Iowa, Montana, Tennessee, Texas, and Utah. In 2022, 4 more states: Alabama, Georgia, Indiana, and Ohio. In 2023, 2 more: Florida and Nebraska, and in 2024, 2 more: Louisiana, and South Carolina. That's 16 states in 4 years. The pace is accelerating. And more states are considering it right now. Why is this happening so fast? 3 reasons. First, the Supreme Court's decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin in 2022 changed the legal landscape. The court said that gun regulations must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. That made it harder for states to justify restrictive permitting schemes. Bruin didn't directly address constitutional carry, but it shifted the momentum in favor of gun rights. Second, Republican-controlled state legislatures prioritized it. Constitutional carry became a major political issue for the gun rights movement. Organizations like the NRA, Gun Owners of America, and the Firearms Policy Coalition pushed hard, and voters in red states demanded it. Third, real-world data started coming in. When Alaska passed constitutional carry in 2003, opponents predicted blood in the streets. It didn't happen. Crime didn't spike. Shootouts didn't become common. The same pattern repeated in every state that passed it. The sky didn't fall, and that made it easier for the next state to follow. Now let's talk about age requirements because they vary by state. Some states allow constitutional carry at 18. Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, New Hampshire, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Vermont all set the age at 18. Other states require you to be 19. Missouri sets it at 19, though 18-year-olds in the military can carry. Most states set it at 21. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wyoming all require 21. Some states have exceptions for military members. Georgia, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Tennessee allow active-duty military or honorably discharged veterans to carry at 18 even though the general age is higher. This matters because if you're 18 or 19, you need to know whether your state allows you to carry. And if you're military, you may have rights that civilians your age don't have. Now, quick legal note. This is educational information only. It is not legal advice. Gun laws change constantly. Age requirements, eligibility rules, and restricted locations vary by state. Always consult your state's current statutes and talk to a licensed attorney if you have specific questions. Do not rely on a YouTube video to make legal decisions. Get professional help. Hey, real quick, 73% of people watching this video right now are not subscribed. That means almost 3/4 of you are going to walk away and miss the next critical update about gun rights. Don't be in that group. Over 50,000 gun owners rely on this channel for accurate, up-to-date legal information. Join them by clicking subscribe. Takes 2 seconds. Do it now. Now let's talk about reciprocity because this is where constitutional carry gets complicated. Your constitutional carry right only works in your home state. If you travel to another state, you're subject to that state's laws. Even if you live in a constitutional carry state, you can't carry in other states without understanding reciprocity. Here's how reciprocity works. Some states recognize permits from other states. If you have a permit from state A and you travel to state B might recognize your permit and allow you to carry there. But if you don't have a permit because you live in a constitutional carry state, you have a problem. Constitutional carry doesn't travel with you. So here's the strategy. Even if you live in a constitutional carry state, you should still get a permit. Why? Because a permit gives you reciprocity in other states. For example, a Florida resident can carry without a permit in Florida. But if they get a Florida concealed weapons permit, that permit is recognized in over 30 other states. Same with Texas. Texas residents don't need a permit in Texas, but a Texas license to carry is recognized in dozens of other states. If you travel, you need a permit. Period. And here's another reason to get a permit even in a constitutional carry state. Federal law. The Gun-Free School Zones Act is a federal law that makes it illegal to possess a firearm within 1,000 feet of a school. But there's an exception. If you have a state-issued permit, you're exempt from that federal law. If you're carrying under constitutional carry without a permit, you could technically be violating federal law every time you drive past a school. Most people don't get prosecuted for this. But the risk exists. A permit eliminates that risk. Now let's talk about the 21 states that still require permits. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Virginia, Washington, and Wisconsin. These states still require you to get a permit to carry concealed. Some are shall-issue states. That means if you meet the requirements, they must issue you a permit. Others are may-issue states. That means even if you meet the requirements, the issuing authority has discretion to deny you. The may-issue states are shrinking. After Bruin, most may-issue states had to change their laws, but a few still have restrictive permitting schemes. California, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New York all have laws that make it difficult to get a permit. In these states, you might need to show good cause, demonstrate a special need, Provide references, complete extensive training, and wait months for approval. And even then, approval is not guaranteed. This is the fundamental divide in America right now. In 29 states, carrying a gun is a right you can exercise freely as long as you're legally eligible. In 21 states, carrying a gun is a privilege the government can grant or deny. That gap is getting wider, and it's creating a two-tier system of gun rights. Now, let's address the opposition, because not everyone supports constitutional carry. Law enforcement groups have raised concerns. They argue that permitless carry makes their jobs harder. When officers conduct traffic stops, knowing whether someone has gone through a permitting process gives them information about training and background checks. Without permits, officers have less information. Gun control organizations like Everytown for Gun Safety oppose constitutional carry. They argue that permit requirements, including training and background checks, help keep guns out of dangerous hands. They claim that eliminating permits increases gun violence. But here's what the data actually shows. Multiple studies have looked at constitutional carry states. The results are mixed. Some studies find no significant increase in crime. Others find small increases in gun-related incidents, but there's no consistent pattern of constitutional carry causing major spikes in violence. The reality is that constitutional carry affects a specific population, people who were already legally allowed to own guns but didn't want to go through the permit process. These are not criminals. Criminals don't follow permit laws anyway. Constitutional carry just removes bureaucratic barriers for law-abiding citizens. This information could literally determine whether you can exercise your Second Amendment rights or whether you're stuck waiting for government permission. Subscribe now because my next video breaks down the exact process for getting a non-resident permit that maximizes your reciprocity across all 50 states. That video could give you legal carry rights in 40+ states. Click subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's talk about what's next for the constitutional carry movement. Several states are considering constitutional carry legislation right now. In 2026, bills have been introduced in Michigan, North Carolina, and South Carolina to expand or clarify existing laws. If these bills pass, the constitutional carry map keeps growing. There's also a push for federal reciprocity. Congress has introduced bills like the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act, H.R. 38 and S. 65. These bills would require all states to recognize concealed carry permits from other states. If federal reciprocity passes, it would be a game changer. A Texas permit would be valid in California. A Florida permit would work in New York. Constitutional carry holders could get permits in their home states and carry nationwide. But federal reciprocity faces strong opposition. Anti-gun states don't want to be forced to recognize permits from states with lower standards, and the political battle is intense. For now, federal reciprocity is stalled, but the momentum is building. And with a Republican-controlled Congress and a pro-gun administration, it could happen. Now let's talk about what you should do if you live in a constitutional carry state. First, understand your state's specific rules, age requirements, restricted locations, eligibility criteria. Don't assume you know the law. Look it up. Every state's law is different. Second, consider getting a permit anyway. Even though you don't need one in your state, a permit gives you reciprocity, federal law exemptions, and proof of a background check. Third, get trained. Just because your state doesn't require training doesn't mean training isn't important. Learn how to safely handle your firearm. Understand the law. Practice shooting. Training saves lives. Fourth, know where you can and cannot carry. Federal gun-free zones. State-specific restricted locations. Private property rights. Just because you can carry doesn't mean you can carry everywhere. And fifth, stay informed. Laws change. Court decisions happen. New restrictions get proposed. Subscribe to channels like this one so you don't miss critical updates. Now let's talk about what you should do if you live in a permit-required state. First, start the permit process. If your state is shall issue, you'll get approved as long as you meet the requirements. Don't wait. Get your permit now. Second, understand your state's reciprocity agreements. Which states recognize your permit? Where can you travel and still carry legally? Third, advocate for change. Contact your state legislators. Tell them you support constitutional carry. Vote for candidates who support gun rights. Join organizations that lobby for these laws. And fourth, consider moving. I'm serious. If gun rights matter to you, and you live in a restrictive state, moving to a constitutional carry state might be the best option. Millions of Americans have relocated for jobs, taxes, or quality of life. Gun rights are a legitimate reason to relocate too. All right, let's bring this home. 29 states, 58% of the country. Constitutional carry is now the majority position in America. Vermont, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wyoming. If you live in one of these states, you can carry concealed without a permit right now. If you live in one of the 21 other states, you're subject to permit requirements that might be shall issue or may issue depending on where you are. The constitutional carry movement is accelerating. More states are considering it. Federal reciprocity is on the table, and the legal momentum is on the side of gun rights. But you need to stay informed. Laws change. Court cases happen. Your rights can expand or contract based on legislation and litigation. Here's my final message. If this video helped you understand the constitutional carry landscape, subscribe. I research these laws every single week so you have the most accurate, up-to-date information. The subscribe button is all I ask. Hit it. Share this video with any gun owner who needs to know about constitutional carry. And I'll see you in the next one where we break down the best non-resident permits for maximizing reciprocity across all 50 states. Legal disclaimer. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute legal advice. Gun laws vary by state and change frequently. Always verify current laws in your jurisdiction and consult a licensed attorney before making decisions about carrying firearms. This video reflects laws as of early 2026 and is subject to change.